I'm a councillor in Manchester in Hume Ward, which is always having a little mini revolution, which I think is great. I'm also a director of a Social Action Research Foundation, which is a research company which looks at combating poverty and working with communities. We did a report on the riots after a year-long study of the riots in Manchester and Salford, and we spoke to over 350 people, ranging from people that work for the council, the police, the young people, communities, and people who rioted. The report's on our website, and we came up with some recommendations. I was actually out on the night of the riots. I've got children of rioting age, ranging from 13 to 22. Luckily, they stayed at home, and I went out and basically spoke as to people that were rioting as a community witness. And as a parent, my kids, they're like any other kids. They want things, they want to go out, they see dissent, and they want to, they get excited. I can't physically stop them. I couldn't physically stop them going out that night. But what stopped them going out that night was our relationship and me saying, actually, you know what? Some of your mates might be going in town, but you get caught up in that, you're going to get hammered. Don't do it. Stay at home and just be safe. For me, I didn't want to have the experience of Manchester, our hometown, actually be videoed to me through the media and saying to me, this is why people rioted. I wanted to go out and speak to people that were in town and that were actually saying that we're going to cause a ruckus in our community for whatever reason. And I stayed out till 1 o'clock. I had one man come up to me and try to sell me his wares that he had just stolen from St. Anne's Square, and emptied his pockets and said to me, "Yeah, do you want something?" And I said no, and he was disappointed because it was silver, not gold, and he was really cross with himself. And then wanted to use my phone to phone a taxi. I said, maybe not. And I also spoke to young women that were out, 17, 18-year-old women that were out with their young babies. One was under 1 and one was under 2, and I said to them, I don't think it's safe for you to be here. You need to go home. And what their reason for being there was like, we know some of the young men that are here. It's all right, we're going to be okay. And I said, yeah, but when they're running away from the police, which is obviously what they were going to do at some point in the evening, they're not going to worry about you getting in the way. They're going to just want to get out of the way, so it's not safe. And then we followed that on with a year-long study. Some of the facts of the riots, many of them I'm sure you will know, up to £300 million worth of damages in terms of lost property and to businesses and to communities. 90% of the people that were involved in the riots were male. It was a gendered riot. People forget this. When we talk about the riots, we talk it was a race riot or it's a riot because we don't have young people, young people are disaffected, or because actually we don't penalise them enough. That's not true. This is young men that are pissed off with the system, and I'm sorry for using that language, and basically don't feel they have a space. We spoke to people. One young man said to us, David Cameron is the biggest criminal. And that was said to us again and again and again. They said the police are the biggest gangs. When we were in Salford, we were told again and again that actually the police are the biggest gang and we're going to outgang them. And then we had many young people say to us that this is the best day of our lives. As a 16-year-old, for me, I feel as a parent, as a worker, as a politician, that I failed when I have 16-year-olds in our city, in our country, saying that this is the best day of my life. Me burning down my neighbourhood is the best day of my life. Actually, it's not. And what we need to do is we actually need to listen to young people and we need to get them involved. There's been some really great work being done. I know that the government weren't necessarily interested in listening to some of the recommendations that came through across the country. But in Greater Manchester, there's great work being done around early intervention and working with complex families or troubled families so that they don't feel the need to go out and cause difficulties in their communities. But what I think more needs to be done, we're working with young people's organisations and saying that actually what we want to do is get you involved. For me, personally, I want them to get involved in politics. There has to be room for dissent. As a society, we can't say that the only way to actually dissent is to burn down your community. That is not an option. Projects like this are absolutely fantastic because what it does is offers another avenue for young people to come through and say, actually, I disagree with what you're saying. I disagree with the politicians. I disagree with the institutions. I disagree maybe with the teachers. I disagree with the police. And I'm going to show that by going and getting involved in a project like this. I would love this to be replicated across the country if it could, because what it does, when the young people get arrested and they get put in prison and disproportionately get put in prison for 3 years because they stole a bottle of water, then they ruin their own future, never mind anybody else's, and they're not going to benefit anybody else. And for me, as a parent and a worker, I just think that it's a failing in society. So I'm really passionate about supporting this event and really passionate about making sure that we can replicate this as much as possible. I think some of the work is fantastic. I've been trying to tweet it and not been very successful. And I just think that Noise have done a fantastic piece of work. The artists are phenomenal, and I want to encourage as many people as possible to come here and to carry on doing this kind of work. So thank you.